It's good with y'all young boys and girls. I'm saying thoughts. It's the same life. Welcome back to another in-depth reaction video. And today we got why season 0 is the best Yu-Gi-Oh anime. And some of you guys in the comments I was reading, and you guys said Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero is the true Yu-Gi-Oh! The original Yu-Gi-Oh! That it should have been before they changed it. Alright. So we're gonna watch this video and we're gonna go in depth and we're gonna see why this is considered the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime of all time. So if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. Let's get right to it.
A lot of people still don't know about the true first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! And much less have seen it, but not because it isn't any good, it's just a bit different from its more popular sequel. Kaiba has green hair, Yugi's alter ego isn't exactly a good guy, and
Yeah, I
much
heard
less
y'all saying
attention
his
is
alter
given to the
ego is more
so-called children's
crazier.
card game. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game, right? Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! 1998, more commonly referred to as Season 0, is the prequel to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters, and while it does feature the same Duel Masters card game, it certainly is a lot less prevalent. In typical shonen fashion, the original goal of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was to depict the power of friendship, more specifically the
Power
power
of
to
friendship?
make friends through the act of playing games, which is quite funny considering most people think of Season 0 as the darkest part of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which isn't completely
I've heard
accurate,
that a
but more
lot.
on that later. First, I need to tell you that
Season
the
0 is
anime
the
and
darkest
manga
one.
versions of Season 0 are quite a bit different. There aren't any major plot differences between the two, but when Toei adapted the manga, they made a lot of changes in an attempt to improve the mainstream appeal. The most conspicuous example of this is Miho. In the anime, she is a main character, but she only appeared in one chapter of the manga. For this video, I'll
Dang.
be discussing a bit of the manga, but mostly the anime because it's the more interesting version in my opinion. Season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about acquiring friendship through games, and it's one thing that Season 0 does better than most anime, even those that have friendship as a central theme. We've all seen the shonen where friendship is used as a driving force to push the
Right.
protagonist to
That,
get stronger,
that's
and then the
mostly in
friends of
every
that
anime.
protagonist get stronger so they can feel like less of a burden. But how often is it that the main character's reward for having friends is simply having friends? No increase in
No increase of power? That's different.
magical power or mental fortitude, just friendship. Friends who don't take
Yu-Gi-Oh's
a
the
back
short
seat
one.
to the main character, but instead who are strong in their own right. To illustrate this point, we need to look at Yugi's relationships with Jonochi and Anzu. First, we have Jonochi, who teases Yugi every chance he gets, and Yugi just kinda puts up with it. Jonochi claims his goal is to make Yugi into a man by provoking him, but Yugi never fights back. And despite being picked on
So he's bullying Yugi to make him into a man. That's a shitty way of doing that, but okay.
all the time, Yugi still views Jonochi as a friend because he believes Jonochi's heart is in the right place. Anzu is Yugi's childhood friend who he has a crush on, but Anzu views him as more of a little brother than anything else.
Dang,
This
she
becomes
little
clear when
bro
Jonochi takes his
Yugi.
puzzle and it falls on a visibly frustrated Anzu to get it back for him. After she returns the puzzle to Yugi, she tells him that he needs to learn to stand up for himself. At the end of that same episode,
Dang, Yugi, you got a crush on her. And the girl that you got a crush on is trying to tell you to stand up for yourself. And she little broed you. Hopefully he gets the girl in the later on in the series.
Yugi completes his puzzle, unlocks the power of the Shadow Game, and from that point onward, things are changed completely.
Whoa.
On the surface, Jonochi really does act like a jerk, and he certainly fits the delinquent character archetype, but he's not a bully. In fact, when Anzu referred to Jonochi as a bully earlier in the same episode, he was actually offended by it. This becomes especially obvious when he is faced with Ushio, a real bully. And of course, after Yugi steps in and saves Jonochi, he does end up becoming a good friend of his, Honda as well. As for Yugi's relationship with Anzu, she starts to develop romantic feelings for him after he rescues her in the next
Hey.
episode. But these are just the first steps Yugi takes toward improving his pre-existing relationships and establishing new ones. With each new episode, each new game, the evolution of these relationships becomes more and more apparent. It's thanks to all these games that Season 0 makes for such a good episodic series, and the strengthening of each bond is what makes it worth watching from beginning to end.
You know, I kind of like it because they said this season it's like it's no card game playing or nothing like that. It's just purely friendships on building friends, and that's interesting. Like that's really interesting. I understand why you guys like it a lot.
It's something that honestly I haven't seen done well since Cowboy Bebop. That's right. I know it's strange to compare a children's show about friendship with a masterpiece like Cowboy Bebop, but hear me out. One of my favorite things about Cowboy Bebop is the episodic feel that allows you to watch almost any episode out of context without feeling lost or out of place. This works because a new story is contained entirely within each episode of the show. At the same time,
I like
you'll be
shows
rewarded
like
with a
that.
set of new stories that develop in the background if you watch the series in its proper order. Yu-Gi-Oh! 1998 does the exact same thing. The first arc shows Yugi's path from loner to leader, and each of Yugi's friends go through their own struggles as a result of this change. It's the only other series I can think of where most of the episodes can be watched out of context, even though there is an actual overarching plot being built up in the background. And not just one plot, there are several different storylines being developed.
So in season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh is basically every story, well, every episode is like a different plot story. Cause I understand what he means by that. Like a lot of shows do this. City Hunter is kind of like that. It's like every episode is a different plot. Martin Mystery is like that. If you guys know what Martin Mystery is, it's like every episode is a different plot, but in the background there's a deeper plot at hand that's growing. But you could literally watch any episode of it and you won't be like thrown off. You're gonna catch up really quick just by watching any episode.
Multiple characters. It all comes to a head at the end of the Kaiba Land battle, where Yugi gets his rematch against Kaiba and completely obliterates him with Exodia. One thing I didn't notice until I watched Season 0 was that Exodia is made of 5 different pieces because Yugi's friend group consists of 5 different people. And each of these people were lost in a way until they all came together and developed a strong bond with one another. This is why Kaiba gets
the power of friendship
destroyed in spite of having 3 of the strongest card in the world, and he being the only person to have those 3 cards. Kaiba's a complete loner, and he actually betrays both his father and his younger brother within the same arc. In his pursuit of strength, he decides to abandon and betray those who are close to him, while Yugi, on the other hand, becomes stronger as a side effect.
I'm not even gonna lie, I like Yugi's anime design in season 0 than in any other anime. I don't know, I can't explain it. This design I think it just fits Yugi's character. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion, but y'all let me know if y'all agree.
Of developing these strong bonds with his friends. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Yu-Gi-Oh! 1998 is dark for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, but to be honest, not by much, as the anime for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters was dark in a very similar way, because Yugi finds himself in extreme danger all the time in both Season 0 and Duel Monsters. The key difference that sets Season 0 apart as especially dark is the fact that Yugi is almost always the one responsible for creating these extreme circumstances, the complete opposite of Duel Monsters. And even this is one thing that Season 0 does.
So in Season 0, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the reason for problems happening, but in the regular anime series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not the reason for it.
For creating these extreme circumstances, the complete opposite of Duel Monsters. And even this is one thing that Season 0 does impeccably well. In Season 0, the power of the Shadow Game is unlocked when Yugi solves the Millennium Puzzle. For most of the season, he uses this power to punish people for cheating in games, and he does so very severely. But by the end of the Tribal Land arc, when Yugi is faced with his greatest foe, also the biggest cheater of the entire series, what does he do? Does he force Kaiba to retire from gaming permanently? Maybe trap him in an endless nightmare? No. In fact, Yugi doesn't punish him at all. And this is huge for Yugi, as it marks a major turning point for him as a character. To explain, we'll need to take a step back to Yugi's Kapumon battle with Mokuba just prior. Upon Mokuba's defeat, it is Kaiba who initiates a punishment, not Yugi. This comes as a shock to Yugi, so he rescues Mokuba. Then, Mokuba tells Yugi the story of his relationship with his older brother and how Kaiba himself is a victim of his adopted father. In a way, it humanizes Kaiba, and that is why he can't bring himself to use his Shadow Game power to ruin him, even though he has every reason to. Think about how much
that makes sense.
Took. Leading up to this fight, Kaiba stole the Blue Eyes from Yugi and tore it up, kidnapped his grandpa, and forced his friends into several life-threatening situations. Not one of these actions were excusable, but Yugi still found it in his heart to forgive Kaiba and gave him...
I said Kubi. Yugi, you different, bro. You different, bro. If somebody like that do that to me and my friends, and he takes my grandpa, tortures all of us, and you still show him mercy, Yugi different.
From a chance at redemption.
I don't know if I could do that.
Realized that his opponents aren't just dirty cheaters. They're people who have made mistakes. Kaiba may have done some very bad things in the pursuit of victory, but up until the Mokuba rematch, Yugi was very cruel in his own pursuit of justice. That's why Yugi spares Kaiba and offers him a chance at redemption. He is also attempting to redeem his own actions. So, is Season 0 really that dark? I'd say no, it's not a particularly dark series, at least not in the anime version. in the manga, people are actually killed by Yugi, and even though most of them are technically bad people, that doesn't make it right.